All right, greetings, folks. I got an interesting horn here. This is a very cool one, actually. I just got this on a trade. It's a unique creature. This is a balanced action, a Selmer balanced action tenor, a 23,000, the serial number, kind of earlier balanced action, and it's a great player. What's really strange and unique about it is the engraving. So those of you in the know will recognize this. So what is very clear to me, the history with this horn, is that this was probably originally a balanced action with no engraving. And somebody sent it or took it back to the Selmer factory in the late 40s or early 50s and had Selmer relacquer and engrave it. Because it has SBA, super balanced or super action engraving. And I've just seen so many horns, re-engraved ones, original ones, etc., that I can kind of recognize the style. And I don't mean the pattern, I mean the style. So, there's plenty of people who are like re-engraving these days, re-engraving SBA style engraving, etc. But this is factory engraving. You can tell just by the way it was done, by the depth, by the touch, the closeness, the tightness of the pattern. It looks exactly like the factory SBAs. This was done at Selmer, I am quite sure. This is not an aftermarket engraving, although it's a Selmer aftermarket, but it wasn't done by somebody else. This was done at Selmer. It's just that style, and you can tell, once you've looked at enough of them, you can tell the depth and the fineness, the delicacy. It's a very gentle kind of engraving. It's sharp and deep enough, but they still did it very finely and gently. So this was relacquered back at the Selmer factory, I'm quite sure. And they engraved it. Nobody else could do it like that. It's just maybe 2 or 3 people that were doing it. It's exactly the SBA engraving. And the color of the lacquer is also appropriate exactly for that time period. This is the SBA lacquer. It's like a little bit lemony gold. That's what they were doing. I had a 43,000 SBA. It was exactly that color. So I'm quite certain this was just factory relacquered, engraved, which is interesting. And the other point is that usually when horns are quote-unquote recut or re-engraved, they'll show evidence of the previous engraving underneath, and this doesn't. And it's, the thickness, it's not heavily buffed. You can't see evidence that it was buffed at all. And there's no evidence of any engraving underneath. And balanced actions, the original engraving is not shallow. They had that, the lake, the sailboat, the trees, the mountains, whatever, and, a lot of engraving. You'd see evidence on this bell that this thing had been engraved before, and there's none. It's just perfectly bare with the SBA engraving. A very interesting creature. Clearly sent back to Selmer, or to be engraved and lacquered. But it's an early SBA, and man, it really plays. It needed some work. It's definitely lived. It's been around the block a few times at least. It's a real player's horn. The neck I had to do a little work, and somebody did some work before me, and I kind of cleaned it up. And it's got various things. Nothing too serious though. Hasn't really been seriously beat around, but it's lived. But it's got metal resonators at the moment, and I had to do a little bit of work to get it up on its feet, but now it's really going. And so we're going to hear it maybe with a few different mouthpieces. We'll start with this early Babbitt piece that I'm playing right now. This is like a 7-star, straight signature Florida. And horn is not shy. something else on there. Maybe, let's try the quad ring link. Quad ring link on the balanced action. Balanced action, what would this be? Like a cybernetic, cyborg balanced action. I think this mouthpiece needs a slightly stronger reed, or a different reed. All right, let's try something else. I don't think this piece loved that reed, but it's got a nice. It still sounds nice on this horn. I don't feel like messing with the reeds right now. I got this one reed pony. Let's try something else. All right, let's try this with Orphan Slant, the marinated Orphan Slant blank. An actual slant blank, but it was unbranded, and I set it up at a 7. Here we go. last but not least, how about the Berg? Why not? Doesn't like this reed. Yeah, doesn't like this reed too much. It wouldn't want to subtone very easily. But that gives you the sound. This horn is pretty wild. I mean, not only is it really cool looking and has some kind of interesting, weird history to it, but it can do anything. That's the thing about balanced actions is they're so flexible, and I think maybe they have a, maybe some undeserved reputation of them being dark. I don't know, it plays pretty darn bright for me. There it is. Thanks for watching.